Hey everyone, welcome back to M&M, Michael's Music. I'm Michael Wiesenthal, your host. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, I guess you could say, maybe. Ori Knox. How are you doing, Ori?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Michael?
I'm alright. So today on the podcast we're going to be talking about Bing Crosby, one of my favorite singers. Do you know much about him, Ori?
I think I've heard a couple of his songs. I mean, I might need you to give me a little refresher because he's not somebody I listen to regularly.
Sure. Well, that's what we'll be getting into today, I guess. Probably his most famous hit these days, at least, is White Christmas. You heard of that before?
Oh, I've heard that song. Maybe not his version, but I've heard it before.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those standards that's covered quite frequently, and is in fact the best-selling song ever, his version. But to get a little more in depth about him, since that's all we know about him these days, White Christmas. He was born in 1903, lived in 1977. His birth name was originally Harry Lillis Crosby, and the nickname Bing came around from a newspaper comic.
Really?
So when he was little, there was a newspaper a comic called the Bingville Bugle that he loved reading, and then one day one of the neighbors just picked up on that and called him Bing.
That's interesting. I would never have thought it came from a comic. What was the comic about?
I don't really know, but that's where it came from at least.
Yeah.
So he was raised in Washington, both in Spokane and Tacoma.
D.C. or state?
Washington State. And so then when he was about maybe 23-ish, he and his friend, Al Rinku, they went down to Hollywood to try and get their start. And so they bounced around for a few years, working as a duo sometimes in an orchestra with some other people like Paul Whiteman. He was a very big band conductor in the 20s. Until in maybe the late 20s, early 30s, Bing really started to get his big break as a crooner. So a crooner,
I was just about to ask what that was.
I figured. To go into the context of that, so before, the early 1920s, 30s, they didn't have microphones when they sang, right? If you were a singer, you were like an opera singer or something, and you had to project, you had to sing so the people all the way up in the rafters could hear you far back.
Yeah.
But with the microphone, you can sing as if you're singing to someone that's right across from you, and whenever the sound comes out of your record player or whatever, it'll be as if they're right there. And so Bing, along with a couple other singers, mostly Rudy Valley and Russ Columbo in the early 30s, they really picked up this style of singing. The word you hear a lot is intimately, as if they were crooning into it, as if they were sitting right there next to you. Yeah, you don't need to overdo it, Ori.
No, I'm not overdoing it.
Okay.
I know.
So anyway, then in the 30s, Bing really started to pick up, both on radio and in records he'd sell. His show, the Kraft Music Hall, in fact, became one of the most listened to broadcasts every week. It was a weekly show when people would...
Because I've never heard of it, ever.
Yeah. But millions of people would tune in every week. I believe, some people say the figures would be as high as like 50 million in some cases, which, especially back when you think the population was like 150 million people or something.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. So then, after he's already started to establish his success as a star in the 30s, he sang some hits such as Please, Dinah, Blue Hawaii, Sweet Leilani. Those were some of his larger songs.
Yeah.
Sweet Leilani?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But those were some of his larger hits in the 30s. Then along comes World War II, and Bing, in a sense, I wouldn't say quite, but like almost in a sense reinvented himself during then. During World War II, since he was too old to volunteer and fight as a fighting man on the front, he felt really bad about that, and so he wanted to do anything he could to help his country. And so,
let me guess, he sang to the soldiers, didn't he, to inspire them? Yeah.
All those USO tours, and it really touched, especially White Christmas, really touched some of the soldiers then made them feel like they were just at home, even though they were thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned White Christmas there. White Christmas became such a big hit in part because it's sort of a nostalgic song. You're dreaming of Christmases long past that were white. Wish you had another one. And that sense of nostalgia really hit home with the troops far off. And so, especially if you think about the troops in like the Pacific, for example, where it's tropical all the time, there's no snow there. That really made them feel at home. That's part of what helped make the song such a big hit. But then after World War II, he continued starring on his own radio show during the late 40s, early 50s, and continued putting out fairly hit songs. But after that, since some of his fortune up till that point had been partly tied to the soldiers in World War II, and the war was, fading away at that point as a memory, his popularity began to wane, and it began to be replaced by other genres as well. Instead of more crooning type things, you had more rock and roll, and then once you get into the 60s, you get the British invasion, and that really changes things even further. So during the 50s and later 50s and 60s, he kind of went into a semi-retirement. He was still putting out some songs and a few albums, some of which are quite good. He had some interesting concept albums later.
Would you say that his best work is his early work, though?
I would say that his best work was his early work, partly because of just the quality of his voice. When he was, because in the 30s he would have been like in his 20s, but by the time you get to the 60s, he'd be in his 40s or something. Or no, be in his 60s, 50s, something like that. I'm getting the dates mixed up, but he would have been older then, and a lot more wear and tear on his voice at that point. It still sounded good though. Definitely lowered a bit in tone.
Reminds me of Neil Young.
Yeah,
listen to some of his early recordings. It's a lot different than when he did stuff live more recently.
Not that that is worse necessarily.
Well, yeah, it's just
different.
Tone-wise, it's a lot different because eventually, your voice, you talk so much that kind of deteriorates. Not in the sense that it'll sound worse, but that's why old people sound like their voices are lower, is because they're talking a lot more, right?
Yeah, definitely. So he kind of coasted through his semi-retirement in the 50s and 60s, then in the 70s, especially in the mid-70s, he really started to try to get out of his retirement, put in more work, started releasing more albums. He got Ken Barnes, who was a British producer, help him do a few albums, and not that he was reaching the popularity that he had in the 30s and 40s, but he was certainly picking up a bit from where he had been. But then unfortunately he died in 1977, October 14th. There's actually a kind of interesting story. So on that day he was in Spain. He had been touring a bit in Europe, and so that day he had been playing a game of golf with a few friends. And so they played a full 18 holes of golf. They had just finished. Bing had actually won. And after
was he a good golfer?
Yes, he was a very avid golfer. Him and Bob Hope a bit. In fact, he had some charity golf tournaments that he would do.
That's nice.
But so he had just finished winning the game of golf. He turned to his friends and said, his final words were, "That was a great game of golf, fellas. Let's go have a Coca-Cola." And then right after that, he collapsed on the spot of a heart attack and died.
Wow.
So
maybe it was from all the Coca-Cola he was drinking.
Maybe, I don't know. But
or the hard drugs he probably took from throughout his career.
I don't think he was quite one for that, but
caught up to him.
Yeah, he was a pretty devout Catholic, but
you never know.
Yeah, maybe he was hiding the drug in secret. You never know. Yeah. But yeah, that's a bit of a brief overview of Bing. Very brief. I really like him as a singer. I hope everyone out there maybe check out some of his songs. Maybe you too, Rory.
Yeah, I will. I'll make sure.
But yeah, I think that's I think it's important to look into the history of our music, see where it came from.
Especially U.S. music, because you don't really, we listen to all these other artists from around the world, especially the time of the British invasion. Like, it really changed music in the U.S. But it's like nice to go back and look at kind of the roots of our music.
Yeah, definitely. In part because I think of its own merits, but also just as a guide to where our music, our present music, might have came from, where its influences came from. Because Bing definitely had influences upon his start, and he definitely influenced people after him. Though I didn't get much into that, but I think that's a pretty good way to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Sure. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And that was Eminem, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Michael's music.
Hi guys, welcome to our podcast. This is Caitlin Lipe, and my music genre I'm going to be discussing today is country.
My name is Shayma Lambert, and today I'm going to be discussing about R&B music.
My name is Wyatt, and I'm going to be talking about rap.
My name is Lauren, and I'm going to be discussing alternative indie.
My name's Keely, and I'm just going to be discussing regular indie.
Okay, I'm going to be talking about Megan Moroney for the country music genre.
So, Caitlin, what's Megan Moroney been up to lately?
She's just getting more popular by the day. She actually just collabed with Alani Nu, the energy drink brand, and they produced a new watermelon energy drink flavor together.
Does she have any, is she on tour or anything?
Have you tried it?
Yeah,
Have you tried the drink?
I have.
What do you think? Describe it.
It tasted just like a watermelon Sour Patch Kid. It was really good.
The energy drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, Megan Moroney, what did you even ask me? Yeah, Megan Moroney is actually on her tour for her new album called Am I Okay? And she's going to be at the State Fair this year. And I'm really excited because I'm going to get to go to it.
Wow, that sounds like so much fun.
Yep. Okay, Wyatt, what artist are you going to be talking about?
My king, Playboy Cardi.
What's he been up to lately?
Well, pretty much nothing. He hasn't made an album in 5 years. Pretty much, 4 years to the day almost. And I don't know, he makes so much posts on Instagram and he's active, but he's just not posting music. It's really bad.
I heard he's wild.
What's his name?
He's wild.
Yeah, he has some controversy around him, but
What's your favorite song by him?
favorite song, I'm gonna have to pull that up.
Wow. Yeah,
Probably.
big fan.
I'm a big fan.
No, you're not.
I heard you're a fake fan, Wyatt.
I heard I'm not. Mine's either Location or I Love You, I Hate You, or Half and Half. Those are all three. Because they're good.
Why are they good?
Oh, and unreleased music that he made but hasn't posted is definitely Hood by Air or Evil Jordan.
Okay, Lauren, what are you going to be discussing as your artist?
The Lumineers, they're gonna come out with a new album called Automatic, on February 14th, 2025, so pretty soon.
Ooh, Valentine's Day.
Yep. They came out with one song from it, and it's called Same Old Song, and it's pretty good. It sounds good.
What about the Lumineers, drew you to them? What's your favorite thing?
I just like the lyrics of their songs. You can relate to them pretty easily. I heard the song Stubborn Love for the first time when I was in junior high, and I've just been obsessed with them ever since. So I just like their lyrics and I don't know.
I really like that.
When do you start listening to the band?
I just said.
I didn't know if that was when you started listening to it.
In junior high.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Keely.
Yeah. So Keely, who are you going to be discussing?
One of my favorite artists, David Kushner.
Who's that? Oh,
You can ask questions about it. Do you want to? You don't have to. Okay, what are your favorite songs?
Probably one of my favorite songs is Cannon Beach from his debut album.
can you please sing it for us?
No, I cannot buy it.
Oh, okay.
How many were the track?
Was it popular?
He's had like one popular song on TikTok, but he's like kind of small still though.
What's the artist name?
David Kushner.
Can you please sing the TikTok song?
Why, you can Google it.
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
So did you hear about him from TikTok?
No. I found him on like Spotify, and I just like that, and then I saw it on TikTok.
I like that.
Okay, I'll ask Shane a question. Okay, what R&B artists like draw your attention? Yeah.
I like Beyonce. And I like Janae Aiko. I like, and
Yeah.
like, she really haven't been, like, putting out new songs. But Janae Aiko, I love her music.
Yeah.
And Beyonce, I love, like, Pretty Hurts, you know that?
Everyone loves Beyonce.
And, like,
Yeah.
I know.
You're a hater.
Yeah, Wyatt. Stop.
Well, I have a manager at work that plays it every day, so
You don't
it's
like-
really annoying.
Beyonce's good. She's an original.
Beyonce doesn't like you.
I like Chris
Well,
Brown.
good, because I don't like
Oh, yeah.
His music.
Yeah. I do too. Yeah.
And he's, like, he's very handsome.
Yeah. Yeah, I love handsome artists. Okay.
Do you, Lauren?
Yeah, I do.
What,
I feel like all the people we talked about are pretty popular for the most part.
Begging on her knees to be popular.
Okay, Wyatt.
Well, thank you
Rihanna,
guys.
Rihanna's a good one, too.
Who?
Rihanna.
Oh, yeah. True.
That's
True. We listen to Rihanna, Caitlin.
Wow.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I think so. So thank you for listening. Y'all better like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Track by Track with Ori Knox, the podcast for album reviews. Today, I'm joined by a few of my classmates. You guys care to introduce yourselves?
I'm Miley Crow.
I'm Michael
Michael, who?
Biesendahl.
Okay, guys. So today, I'll be talking about Abbey Road by the Beatles. Now, the Beatles is one of my favorite bands of all time. You guys ever heard of them? I'm pretty sure you probably have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Do
have
you,
a couple
do you like
songs.
their music?
Yeah, a couple songs. They're not someone I listen to every day though.
It's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Well-
there's definitely better.
Well, what if I told you
Facts.
that this album is one of the most revolutionary albums of all time in all of music?
How?
I wouldn't believe that.
Well, I'm going to convince you how, and then I'm going to tell you my rating on it. So, Abbey Road by the Beatles. It came out September 26th, 1969, and it's kind of a revolutionary album for the time because it added so many new elements into music. These elements being, new sounds, really, like, popular music. Like, a lot of these songs, I bet all of you have heard of. Like, Here Comes the Sun, Come Together,
Here comes
Something.
the sun.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it. I guess Octopus's Garden, some people have heard of it. That song's kind of goofy. But, new music, new sound from a very famous group of people. And another cool part about this album is that the entire backside of the album all kind of, I guess, melds into each other, where song after song it links into each other and it tells an entire story on the back, ending with Your Majesty, which wasn't originally on the album. It only got added later to the remastered version, I believe, because they recovered it or because they just wanted to add it onto it. So, what do you guys know about the Beatles?
I know that they were in a band.
They were British,
Yeah.
and they did a lot of drugs and sex.
With minors?
Yeah.
So wait, so why is it called Abbey Road?
Because that's the road they're walking on, is Abbey Road. The crosswalk is Abbey Road.
Oh.
Yeah,
Fun.
but like, why'd they decide on that road?
You know what? I couldn't tell you. They probably just wanted to. And fun fact about the album cover, Paul McCartney actually is not wearing shoes in the album cover.
Why?
He's the only one not wearing shoes. I couldn't tell you why, Michael. But yeah, really good album. On my meter, honestly, I'd give it, out of 5, I'd give it a 4.5. I've listened to a lot of albums, but only 2 or 3 of them have been 5 out of 5 perfect albums. This, a phenomenal album, music industry changing, but not a 5 out of 5 for me.
Okay.
So I encourage all of you, listeners, and both of you, Miley and Michael, to go listen to this album, because I think it'll expand your music taste a lot more. And go into the description right here for my YouTube listeners, and go to the Google form that's there, and request an album for me to review next.
I so will.
Thank you, Miley. What about you, Michael? You gonna do that for me?
If I remember to, and if I care enough, I will.
All right. I'll count on it. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And thank you guys, listeners, for listening. I'll catch you on the next episode.
Okay.
Bye.